So you guys are actually quite high level. So I will do my best to give pointers, but probably it's going to come down to the reading. We'll just look for any obvious openings. Ooh, exciting. Maybe here is more exciting though. Tiger's mouth is usually a shape point. Exciting. Are we getting thickness to attack the G17 stone? Because I kind of feel like just settle is good enough. I mean, why not? And if we can settle in Sentai, then we can go here. It's really great. I don't know. I would just settle. But this is going very complex very fast. Because what's the plan here? What do you do? Because I can just push through and cut, and then that's bad shape. Yeah, so what's your plan if I go here?
It was to try to attack G17 severely.
Okay, so I do this, and then push, and then you're gonna pincer, I guess?
Yeah, I didn't really think I didn't. Now that you put it on the board, this looks like a worse cut through than I was thinking at the time.
Yeah. I think you got an over here. Um, yeah, I think I think this is a mistake probably, but then black didn't punish. Definitely push. Almost always you push. Yeah, almost always push to leave the Aji. Like you're gonna fix either way, then almost always push. Well, actually, because this still exists. But I think Black doesn't have time to do that. Yeah, this is overplay. This is overplay. Okay, so yeah, I'm not worried about the gun. I'm not worried about the gun. We just read it and we're fine. But I guess I understand why you, like at first glance, you're like, oh, there's a cutting point. Let's not do it. But if we just read a little bit further.
Yeah, I
Um,
think my overall impression of this game is that I had a lot of very sloppy reading and felt like I was
mhm,
better in the game than I apparently was. But then was able to do well in endgame.
gotcha.
So a
Well,
lot
it's
of
good that
very
your end game
silly
is
reading
good.
mistakes coming up.
How many Go proms do you do a day?
Uh, it's more like weekly. I don't do them every day. That's probably the issue.
Okay, how many do you do a week?
Uh, Probably like 10 to 20.
Ooh. So you're going to the
Yeah,
Dawn
not
ranks. The Dawn ranks is very, very heavily reliant on reading. So before you get to the Dawn ranks, you need to have already started learning the reading stuff, right? So ideally, you'd want to do like 100 problems a day. Uh, yeah, like at minimum. And that's just like 30 to 60 seconds of just learning to like reading out the simple patterns. And basically you need to have all the single digit Q shapes down. Let me go ahead and give you this. I think I've given this before, but I think we have new people.
Yeah, I've been on this website before. I am pretty bad at this format. Problem 101
the
Weichi.
doing the problems and stuff. Um, well, I'll go ahead and send it for those who don't have this spreadsheet. Like this sort of stuff definitely is practice, but you need to be doing like thousands and thousands of Go problems before Dawn rank. So I would say just up your Go problem count at the very least. And in the game, just push your reading as much as you can because that's probably what's going to do it. Usually 2Q and 1Q, it's just there's something fundamental missing in your game. And it's just a matter of identifying what that is. What is separating you from a Dawn? Because given the right circumstances, there's no reason you can't beat a Dawn player. So what is it that separates you from the average Dawn player? Um,
Well, I mean, I think I know reading is a big part of it, but
mhm.
when I've played stronger players, they've said that a lot of like the biggest thing is direction of play for me at the moment.
Oh
So
well,
I've
I've only
actually
seen like what 14 moves, so it might
Oh
be.
yeah, sorry, jumping ahead, I guess. But
Yeah.
I have some worse results against lower ranked players, and I've beaten some like 2, 3 dons
Yeah.
before, depending on the
I
server.
would say it's from 4Q to 1 Dawn. It's about identifying like what is it that you're doing wrong? What fundamental do you just do wrong? In this case, there's a clear fundamental, like you're missing cutting points. That's just wrong.
Yeah.
So we just can't do that, right? You need to review your game and say what am I fundamentally missing, and just don't do it, right? It just play all the fundamentals. You've gotten 30 ranks under you now. You know the fundamentals, but your execution is not perfect yet. So we got to work on the execution. So it's heavily reliant on reading, and I guess also heavily reliant on reviews. So make sure you're definitely reviewing and really looking for like where are the openings, because to me this one should definitely be obvious compared to this one.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and I don't think I was thinking here very much, which is bad.
Yeah, the stronger you get, the more important thing it is, so we got to do that. Any particular reason you didn't take the base?
I wanted to play that move, but I was paranoid about the cut because I can't ladder it, and so I was trying to figure out
Yes,
how I would handle it.
but you're the one who created that cutting point, so we gotta
Right,
do
exactly.
it.
So
We
then I
got it.
figured
We
I'd
have to have a plan for it. That's
right.
why I just said just settle. Like I think
Mhm.
you're overdoing it. You're trying to attack with too much weakness. I
Yeah,
guess the
that
fundamental here is
it's
you're attacking with a weak group. So here,
that I think is a consistent pattern in my games. So
okay. Have you heard me say aggressive defense in previous reviews?
no, but that concept makes a lot of sense.
Okay,
I
so
just joined late.
oh, gotcha. So what I tell my students a lot at single digit Q is to learn aggressive defense. The reason I call it that is because when you are playing defense, we can't just say I'm going to settle. Like that works at double digit Q, it gets a single digit Q, so we don't die, and that's great. But we got to be faster. We got to be more powerful. So what we do is we look for any Aji in our opponent's shape, and we say, how can I use that Aji to help myself? So it's good that you see that A is weak and attackable. But if we're going to attack, then just play a pincer. And so, like, the first question would be, like, why are you not just playing a pincer and surrounding? Oh, because my corner's weak. Well, then don't attack, right? Just play aggressive defense. So play defense that helps your group by utilizing the weaknesses of A and B. And so in this case, we can lean on the stronger one so that we can get strength to attack the weaker one later. But trying to what I think you tried to do is attack it right now, but you don't have a base. You don't have any eye space. So you can't play what you want to play, which is the pincer, because you have too much weakness. You have a cutting point, you have no base. So you can't play the move that you want to play. You know that this is the way to attack, but you can't do it. You have too much weakness. Then don't attack. Just play defense. So how can you use that stone to play defense? And that's what you got to start thinking about is aggressive defense. How can you use the Aji to play aggressive defense?
Makes sense.
All right. So you said you struggle with direction of play. And yeah, Black's not made any mistakes so far. I know I'm not commenting on Black, but like this is all just straightforward for Black. So direction of play. Let's think. My Colossi approach says, do I have any weak groups? Does my opponent have any weak groups? And then big move, and big move is open corners, open sides, largest framework. Right off the bat, we have a weak group with A because it doesn't have a base, and there's black on both sides. We have an unfinished Joseki at B, so I'm not really interested in invading the top side up here at the moment. A and B look more urgent. Does that make sense?
Yes, I guess. So I do leave groups floating longer than I should. So I think that makes a lot of sense. Here, I thought that I would be able to either, play something like B16 or come out into the center easily. So I wasn't very worried about that group yet.
Yeah, but the problem
And
is
for
if
the
I go
bottom,
just 3 moves, you gave black a lot of profit, yes?
I see.
So if your opponent can attack you aggressively and gain profit, it's a weak group.
Okay.
So here it's a matter of, if you think you're strong, first off, identify your eyes. You have none, but you do have like potential for eyes. Identify any cutting points, any peeps. Like, so you have to identify this move. You have to identify any peeps and cutting points. And then you have to think, can my opponent profit by attacking this? So if my opponent does something to me, do I have to respond, and is it valuable for them? If it is, and I do, then that's a weak group, because you can go play a big move all you want, but as soon as they just get a free exchange and then they go respond to you, well, you just lost out because you got a big move, they got a big move, cancels out. But then they got free stuff and you didn't, so it's a negative exchange rate. So I would say if you're leaving a lot of weak groups floating around, first off, just stop tanuking weak groups. However, you'll find that that's really slow. So you have to go with the second step, which is how can you save this stone using Aji? Which you kind of fixed all the Aji, unfortunately. But like this is where we're at. Like, okay, I want to go play a big move, but I can't because I have a weak group. So I want to defend. But if I defend, my opponent gets a big move. Okay, so how could I use the Aji to defend myself super, super fast? And if you can defend yourself while also making your opponent weak or leaving your opponent unsettled, so you'll get value in the future for this. So let's say they get a big move now. In the future, you will get that value up. But and if they defend, then you just go get a big move. You defended yourself in Sentai, so you're happy with that. So you've got to master this aggressive defense, because if you're just leaving groups floating around and missing cutting points, which that's super important, we can't miss cutting points at 2Q. If you're just leaving groups floating around, the middle game is never going to go in your favor. It's going to be super, super difficult for you to play. This is fine because the right side is big as well. It's fine. Usually we push. Yeah, it's just good Aji. I don't know. Yeah, usually we push for the Aji. Probably just here. Because it's not that playable. But I guess, maybe here then, for that. But then that. Yeah, it's really ugly shape for black. Honestly, like I just said this earlier, but when I pincer on this side, I usually want to follow up on this side. That's usually what I do. And then it's very easy for black to play like this. So that's usually what I do. I don't like dealing with all this cutting points, all it's Saji. This is okay, but we just compare it to fix. It's fine. But no, because the cut doesn't work because you have enough liberties. Yeah, you have enough liberties. You're fine. Okay, so the question is, do we have to play on the right? Why not go here? So why the right side?
I played there because if I play in the corner, then black needs to get a base, and then when they play, I was actually worried about them overextending and trying to like aim at that cutting point. At which point, black could try to either get where if I defend, then they back off and get more than what I would like. And I guess I have Sente here. I guess I saw a ghost where I thought my opponent would get either, Sente or able to get more on the right than I wanted.
I think so far what I'm seeing with black is they're not punishing your mistakes as well, but that's hard, I guess. But I think for you have trouble understanding what weak groups are and are not. So, for example, in this case, when you think about a weak group, like you want to think, I want to Tanuki right now, every single time. I want to Tanuki. I want to Tanuki to do the big thing. I want to get a big move. I want to go take my blank space. I want to get the next thing that is big. I want to go get it. Okay. So whenever you don't, you need to have a good reason. So on the top side, the reason was they can start surrounding you in Sente and get profit, right? But on the right side, what are they going to do to you? If you go like right here, that's our definitely Sente because of the cutting point. If you go right here, you are absolutely alive. There's no way that group dies. Yes. So the only profit is this peep.
Right. I thought
that's
if
not a lot
black,
of profit.
Okay, I see. My mistake was if black played S18, I was thinking of I would respond, at which point. So if they played that move first is what I was worried about.
You're looking at
when
this.
I shouldn't respond to that. I should just
that looks like a weak group. That looks like a weak group a lot, but yeah.
That was the error in my reading was a slow move.
I focus on your bases more, and not just the base, but like the speed. Like get it as fast as you can. Is this stone relevant to your base? No, then get the base. Because you lose a stone, but you got to Tanuki for it. So this is what I mean by use aggressive defense, because You want to live as fast as you can so you can go get the next thing. And maybe you can go here or whatever. But what you don't want to do is defend living groups or tanuki not living groups. So
Right.
like I think you don't understand what is and is not weak. I think you're struggling with weak groups a lot or
That makes
understanding weak
sense.
groups and how to handle them.
I also
S-
was too obsessed with trying to use the 017 stone later and didn't want to give up
yeah.
Aji in that area.
Um that's a mistake that single digit queue. Aji exist, for better or for worse it exists, but it doesn't always work. So trying to tunnel vision on Aji is a common mistake. Like it's common mental mistake. If you tunnel vision on the Aji, it'll distract you from the bigger picture and from the bigger plan. Aji is just a tool to help you do the local plan a little bit better if it works. So in other words, if your goal right now is defense, then see if you can use the Aji to defend yourself. And if you can't, let's say this doesn't work. If you can't, then leave it alone. It might help something in the future. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Don't tunnel vision Aji. It's a common mistake. But don't tunnel vision Aji. Um, yeah. And here, I think you just played over defense. Okay, black is really not defending that corner. Honestly, what I want to, if he were going to play on the right side, I'd play here. Because this feels center to A.
Yeah, I talked myself out of this move because of the cutting Aji,
Yeah.
because I didn't want to play S18. I have no idea why.
Yeah, I don't know. I think probably because you think it's slow, but defending yourself through your opponent is not slow. It's defending yourself with the maximum value. Um, yeah. So here, I'm not sure that I like the Tanuki. I really want my bases black because if you play right here, and let's just say I take Sente. Now, what are you going to do in this bottom section of the board? If you just look at that, white's going to control this quarter of the board for the next 20 moves. This is very dangerous, and so that's giving your opponent too much control. So I think we need to think about weak groups more, probably for both players. Why the left side? The left side's done, right?
So
A is strong.
because I didn't like my uh my upper left, I just wanted some more cash, and I was thinking that since my opponent owed me a move in the bottom right, if they went back and defended, it would still be fine for me.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you hear that your follow-ups of the game are trying to fix your mistakes earlier or fix things that you left behind? Yeah. So
Yes,
just
so I
fix those
definitely
in
I
advance, and you don't have to
right,
worry about it.
and so I knew very quickly after playing the upper left corner that it was terrible, but
Then just
and so that's
go.
sort of
Then
where a
don't
lot of the
Tanuki it.
changes go.
So here's what you got to do is like you need to have the discipline to say it's terrible, so I have to fix it. If it's too slow, it's too slow. You just lose. So learn how to fix it better. But what you can't do is say I'm just gonna leave it because I don't know what to do with it. Like just because you don't know what to do with it doesn't mean you leave it. That just makes the problem worse. Does that make sense?
Yes, I guess correction. I thought it was terrible for for the wrong reason. I
Ah,
thought it was bad
okay.
because I lost all my points without getting useful influence, not because I could be
Oh,
easily
well,
attacked.
no, but that's not consistent thinking with this, which says you were trying to support the group on the left. Why would you support something if it's not weak?
I wasn't thinking about supporting the group on the left. I was thinking I want to take points, so double Hane. And then as far as
Ah,
which direction goes, I felt like the Panuki on the top side was better for black than on the right.
I see, I see, I see, I see, I see. Uh, I don't know. I prefer having a combination. I just prefer combinations. Oh, I'm over my time. I'm over my time. So yeah, hopefully you found that helpful. Give you more insight on weak groups. I think focus on the weak groups. And black, I think just see your opponent's shapes, the problems with your opponent's shapes a little bit more and punish a little bit more. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see a lot of black moves. But yeah, hopefully you guys found that helpful, and I'll go ahead and pass it to Dwyron.
All right. Thank you, Sean.